Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and I believe it's time to do another chair video. So this chair came with me from North Carolina. It had a grass rush seat on it, and this part obviously comes off and then is just screwed back onto the frame once the weaving is complete. So it is approximately the same height as the other chairs here around my table, and so I thought, yeah, having an extra chair for the dining room table would probably be a good idea. So let's get started. So I just went back through my playlist for chairs, and way back August 2021, I did a chair in splint, and the chair originally had the fiber or paper tape material on it, and as I went through, I brought some limited supplies with me for chair repairs, and what I have the majority of is actually this paper tape. Since this chair is going to be adjacent to this table that I did the craft paper on, it just makes sense to go ahead and do the chair in this material. So let's get started, and thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate all the comments and the shares, especially on these videos where I'm instructing about how to do chairs, and the more of y'all that give it a thumbs up and comment on it, the further these will go. And since I have retired and I'm not giving any classes on chair seat repair, this is the best way I know how to convey this information forward for folks. In addition, there's books and stuff like that, but seeing somebody do it, it makes a difference in understanding how to do it yourself. Okay, let's get going. So I've got my file, and the important thing to know about seats with potentially square edges is to file the edges so that the material going around the seat is not going to be cracked by someone sitting on the chair and the material being pressed against a sharp edge. Having done that, I'm going to flip this seat over and do the exact same thing on the inner sides of the seat. Additionally, I'm just filing these curved edges to make sure that they're not going to be sharp in any way, and it appears on the back side of this, whoever originally put this chair together, they knew enough to curve these sections as well. So I'm just going to finish that. And just like my video back in 2001, my cat is here checking things out, and you saw earlier the kitten is here as well. So 2 assistants now instead of 1. I'd like to make special note of this right here. So sometimes there are staples, old nails, and other metal hardware in the chair frames, and that's something to be on the lookout for. This little piece right here, if you can see that little shiny thing right there, that's like a nail. I'm going to see if I can pull that out, and I just hit it with my file. That's how I noticed it. Definitely do not want that to be in there to get caught on the material. So there it is, tiny little nail spike head that was left in there. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, so just like in the other videos where the front is wider than the back of the chair, I need to know how much wider the front is from the back. So we got 17 1/4, we got 15 1/4, so that's going to be 2 inches. So there'll be 1 inch on each side off of center, and I just wonder how wide is the tape. So, oh, that's really good. So the tape is a 1/2 inch wide, so that will be 2 passes on the sides that will get woven separately from the rest of the chair. Another way to double check that you've measured correctly is to use a square, lining the edge of the square up with the front of the chair, and then you line the back of the square up with where it's going to touch the point where the material would start. The material would start under here, and carry forward, and this open area is what would be filled in secondarily after the main weaving is completed. So that's another way to check your work. Okay, so the other thing that needs to happen with this, similar to the fiber rush material, this needs to be dampened. Not soaked like a splint or cane, but just enough to give it a little bit more pliability. And what I realized is I need to put some material in each of these corners, because this part will not be covered when I do the actual weaving. And I have a cat licking my legs, so excuse me just one moment. Okay, cat snacks have been provided. We can continue this process. This is a little not wanting to go in so good here. Let's see. Okay. Just go ahead and staple that down a little bit on the bottom side. And now that it's wet, it's easier to wrap. Back and staple it again on the bottom, because this won't be seen later on. Okay, I'm going to continue with this. Okay, so all four corners are set with that, which is where the other weaving wouldn't actually cover. So it's going to blend in nicely, and you're not going to see any bare wood in those areas. Okay, so I just pulled the material out from the sink where it's been soaking. Get this staple to hold. Okay, so I just stapled this piece right here. It's been soaking in the sink. I'm not sure how to line this camera up so I can show you what I'm doing, but not have it be too close to the edge of the table. And I have a kitten, a young cat actually is more apt. She'll be a year old in September. This is one of Little Gray's rescued kittens. And she's on the floor playing with the other end of this spool of soaked material. Hopefully I'm in the center of the frame. I want this to be tight and as straight as possible. Flip this around so y'all can see the other side, the back, the bottom. And just continue this warping across the I'm going to pause this to make sure that what I've just filmed is actually in the center of the screen. And so hold on just one second. Okay, good. Where I have the cameras working out. So we'll just keep going with this. Again, keeping, this is not like this is very similar to the round fiber rush in that there isn't a top or a bottom side, unlike the cane or the splint or the porch weave material that I talked about in previous videos. This doesn't have an up and a down side. It's it's paper, so it can go either way. And whereas the cane material or the splint definitely had a side that you needed to put facing up or down depending on what it was. So working with paper is a little less fiddly, I guess, as far as surfaces. Around here. Let me just flip it over for a second, make sure I don't have any twists. That's the main thing, is you don't want it to get twisted. Keep the same side up all the way across. To do a little bit of adjusting because I need to be moved over slightly in order for this to line up correctly. So I just need to slide all these over before it starts drying in place, because once it dries, that's it, not going to be able to move it. So. The sliding thing. So, oops, do I have a twist there? I do. Back that up a second. There. Okay. All right, so now, once again, on the back side or bottom side of this chair, and I'm going to go ahead and staple it here so that it's fastened down. Okay, all right, let me pause this for a moment. Okay, hopefully I'm in the center of the screen. All right, so this is stapled down there, and what I'm gonna do is do a weaving across. Now this is an odd number. That's what I was doing, was just counting the number of strands. Got an odd number, so for this underneath side, I'm going to go three over and 3 under. That. And now I'll flip it over, and then the same thing, it will be an odd number, so I can start by going over 1 and under 3. I sure hope I'm in the screen here. I'll know in a moment when I pause the camera to check. Okay, and I want this to be pushed back as far against the back of this chair seat as I can get it. And we go with the next one. So now this one, I'm going to go under 1 and then over 3, and then I'm just going to follow the 3 pattern across the seat. Like the other chairs that are done in this style, it gets woven on the top and on the bottom of the chair. And keep the strands spread apart. again, this has to be done in its entirety while it's damp, because once this dries, I don't want to re-wet the material. You wet it once and that's it. Sure hope this is within the screen. And I have a kitten helping me down there on the floor. Let go of that, please. Thank you. I have another chair that I'm really excited to share with you. It's a hand cane, but it's a fancy cane. I'm attempting to figure out where and how I'm going to be able to do that one with this kitten, because she wants to play with everything I'm doing, and I'm concerned that if I try to do the chair while I have her help, it's not going to be helpful at all. And she just wants to play, and she's wonderful, and I'm super happy to have her in my life. She's a really good cat. Okay, let me pause this and find something for her to play with, and also see if what I just filmed is even in the screen. Okay, it's working. So I just stapled this here, and this is the long end. What I'm going to do now is start a piece going this way, and I'm going to staple it on this end, and this will be the next starting piece, so that it's going to line up with this edge, and then it'll come around over top of this one, and then the weave will continue. So now, continuing the pattern. And this again is the bottom of the chair, so all the joining, all the staples, that sort of thing is happening on the bottom. And I'm gonna get this right about there. Staple that down. Uh-oh, out of staples, hold on. Okay, so I got that part stapled down, and now I'm going to cut this previous piece here. Get that out of the way, and then I can flip this over and bring this around about here. I may have to slip it under one of these in order to make it line up properly. And this is where having pieces that are not super long, so you can spool out what you need. Let's see, and that's going to be, will that work out right? Yes, it will. And also having kitchen knives with no serrated edges on them is super helpful as well to get under tight spots. Long end to pull through this spot right here. And again, trying to keep my work in the center of this camera frame, so when I put it into movie mode, it doesn't get centered in the wrong spot. Okay, it's gonna be good. All right, and then I'm just backing up again to get to the end. right, and then I'll flip it and we go around again. So I'm just gonna keep going with this, and I'll be back in a few minutes when I get a little further across this seat. So just like the shaker tape chairs, this needs something in between it. And since this is paper, I've folded up some brown craft paper, and hopefully I'm going to be able to slip it in here before I get too much further with the weaving. Incidentally, if you're seeing this this tabletop and curious about how I did that, I will link that video below this one. It's a really fun project. It just uses brown craft paper and Elmer's glue. And you can easily do tables, bookshelves, walls. I mean, people have done all kinds of things using the craft paper. And yeah, it was a fun project to do that. And I added other little sparkly things in it just for fun. Anyway, all right, let me see if I can get this all the way in here now. Slide it through. I've got the next section, the next weavers soaking, so it'll just take me a minute to do this and we'll get back to weaving. But I realized something needed to be inside this chair in order to provide a little extra cushioning, because this is just paper. So hopefully I get that through there. Let's see. I might need a pair of pliers to pull it. Yeah, hold on a second. Let me grab my pliers. There we go. And then I just have to spread it out on this side. And Kitten, it's this time of the day now where she has little activity periods, and I can get a lot done while she's napping, kind of like a little kid. And then when she wakes up from the nap, she's supercharged. So I may need to pause this, even though I've got the next material soaking, and play with her for a little while until I wear her out. Then she gets quiet again. So, let's see how that's gonna be. These ends down. Yeah, that's gonna be a lot better. It will provide some cushioning. Eventually, once this dries completely, I will be sealing it with a poly, similar to what I used on the table, so you'll get to see how that looks later. Let me pause this and go do the kitten thing. So I've been steadily weaving my way across the seat and almost got it filled in. And the next parts will be a little trickier, because although I'm using the knife now for these tighter spots, once I get into these side areas and even this front strip here, it will be much tighter than it is right now. And the warping that went this way is because it's been some time since I had it wet in the sink. It's also getting tighter because it's drying out. So there's that. Hopefully this is centered good on the camera. You all can see what I'm doing. So I'll flip it over to the back. So I've only got 2 more rounds on this part, and then it's going to be a little trickier weaving in the part that's over top of the wood. I'll show you as much of that as I possibly can. So with this video, I have shared all the different materials that I've been taught and used over the last 40 years fixing chairs. I've done the splint, I've done the shaker tape, I've done porch weave, I've done regular cane, I've done press seats, and now this is the paper tape. So, oh, and I did the grass weave as well. It was actually the wheat wrapped grass, which is even a little more challenging to work with because it's so slippery. And all these chair videos, actually all the videos on my website, are grouped into folders. So if you're looking for something by topic, you're going to find the gardening things together. You're going to find the chair things together. You'll find adventures together. So I hope if you're here because of the chairs, that there might be something else that I do that you're interested in. You'll find it in a playlist on my main page of the channel. But I will post this table renovation that I did using the brown craft paper, because it's an easy thing to do, and people are always so amazed that you can make such a beautiful surface out of paper bags. So, all right, so this is the last row here around this, and then this will have to get, I may have to staple it, I'm not sure yet exactly how that's going to be. Sometimes when you're doing a chair, it's very easy to see what the next step is going to be, and other times that you have to get close enough to the next step before you realize what is going to work and what's not going to work with the material. Let's get that back up on the edge there. Around. There's a kitten still playing. I guess because I'm up and awake and doing stuff, she wants to be playing too. All right, so this is the last round on the top. And the thing about here in New Mexico is everything dries out much quicker. So this is almost like when I was demonstrating at the crafts fairs in North Carolina and working outside, and just being out in the wind, the soaking of the cane or anything else I was working with, it just dried it out very quickly. And here it's just, in general, things dry out quickly. So I think same like I did on the other side, this one right here needs to lock underneath the corner piece and go around the other side with it. You can't see anything I'm doing because I moved the camera. There. So this is the top of the seat. So here it loops under, and way back here in this corner it loops under, and that will help hold it in place. All right, so now I'm going to bring it around this way, and I'm not sure yet. I may have to go under, yes, I need to go under this loop here and then feed it across. So let me do that, and I'll come back in a moment. Okay, so it's another day. I had played with the kitten too long the other night, and so the chair weaving had started to dry out, and then I thought I better just let it dry completely and just use dry material to finish off these side parts. So that's what's happening today, and I had planned to get outside with this and do the poly. However, it's raining now, and I don't know if you can hear the rain in the background or not, but it is raining, and so I will not be able to finish this afternoon. It'll be, unless this is not a big storm, in which case later this evening I can get out there. But I don't know how the light will be in terms of filming this for y'all, so we'll just see. Worst case scenario, I'll get the poly onto it tomorrow, and it will dry sufficiently to bring it back in the house and put it back onto the chair frame. So that's the plan. And I think I think the poly will bring out, there's little nuances of color in this, and I think once it's sealed with the poly, those will show up better than they do right now. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. And it might just be a brief shower. Maybe I will be able to get out there with this afternoon. I just know it dries, everything dries out so fast here, even with the rain coming now. I think it's not going to be a problem to take this outside and do that. Okay, got another piece to put in here. Let's see, it's gonna go 1, 3. Yeah, it gets really, it's tight. Even if I had finished it in the evening, didn't take time to play with the kitten. But as a friend said, tend to the things that are living first, then do all your other stuff. Even if I hadn't stopped to do that, I probably would have needed to take a break because my hands were getting pretty tired. And I'm gonna just cut that so I have a better way to slide that under. And it is definitely tight. So, I don't know if I can get that under there or not. Let's see. It's got 2 more pieces to slide in, and then I'll be flipping this over and weaving the other side. And it's good for you all to see. I mean, this is not like the rest of the chair weaving goes really fast, but this last part is not easy. You have to keep wiggling things around to get the material to go through, and cutting a little, hopefully y'all can see that against my shirt, cutting a little tab end to make it easier to slide. Whatever tricks it takes to get the material to get through these tight spots, because this is actually being woven over top of the frame now. It's not like the rest of the chair was open space. There's wood underneath here, which makes it tighter. Oop, too far. There it is. Okay. Keep pulling that. So I have to say, although I've officially retired, I did have fun doing this, and it has me thinking. If I come across any chairs, you know, out in the world in antique shop or some secondhand store, I might go ahead and buy them if it's something that, you know, is, or like the other day when I was at the trash place and there was a guy throwing away all these chairs, and I'm halfway sad now that I didn't get another one, because that wicker chair is really nice, and yeah, all it needed was a seat. And people are just, I don't know, we don't appreciate these things, and we just think, oh, there'll be another one, but one day there isn't another one, and if you don't know how to fix the one that you have, it's not so good. Okay, so that is going to be as far as that goes, but you can see the pattern carrying all the way across to the edge of the chair. So now just flip this over and begin tucking, and this is the bottom of the chair, so I can staple things down if I need to. There's no problem with any of that, and I can overlap things where some of these are short end pieces. I can overlap another piece in on top of it, and once the poly is on here, none of that stuff is going to show or be in any danger of coming apart. So just so you all know that. See, I'm on top of it. There it is. Okay. Maybe, see, it might be, yeah, it might be better to go over top of this one. Like that. Yeah, that makes more sense of where it's lining up. And then I'll just tuck this under here. Like that. Well, I hope all these chair videos that I've posted have been helpful for folks. And again, if you have received value from this, please give it a thumbs up so that other folks looking for the information will be able to find it, because the more likes a video gets, as y'all know, the silly YouTube stuff, the more other people will find it. So I'd appreciate that very much. And yeah. So now I'm going to come from this side. Let's see. this one fit up through here? Yes. Get moving into all these corners. Yeah, the rain has stopped, so probably maybe 1/10 of an inch, if that. We did get a 1/2 inch the other day out of a couple of storms, so always grateful. I don't know why this isn't going through. Let's try something different here. There we go. The other thing I wanted to mention, while I'm thinking of it, is one of my videos I took took y'all on a tour to the Silver River chair caning shop in Asheville, North Carolina, and it was when I was retiring, and I gave Brandy and Dave, the young couple who own the business, I gave them all the rest of my chair supplies and some other chairs and things that I had. And I am just really sad to report that Hurricane Helene, which wreaked absolute havoc in the state of North Carolina, western North Carolina and eastern Tennessee, they lost about 1/4 of their, they had a chair museum, which you probably remember. They lost about 1/4 of their furniture and supplies. They have since moved to a little town called Weaverville, and I'll post a link to their channel. They actually, I didn't realize that they were so devastated, which I don't know why I wouldn't have thought that they would be, but wouldn't be impacted by it because they were so close to the French Broad River in their location in that building. But they, they salvaged what they could, and they found a new shop, and it's in Weaverville. And I'll post a link to their site under this video as well if anybody hadn't seen that. I am hoping and praying they were working on a chair caning book, and I don't know what this devastation and flooding means in terms of how soon their book is going to be published. They were pretty far along back in 2023 when I was fixing to leave North Carolina, so maybe this situation, maybe it won't impact it too much, and they'll be able to get the book finished soon, if not already. Maybe it's at the publisher. Like I said, I don't know. I had lost I just had lost contact, and that's on me for not checking in on them after such a heartbreaking storm. It's going to be decades before eastern Tennessee and western North Carolina are more recovered. I mean, a lot of recovery is going on, but it's still really bad. So if you have folks, or sites in North Carolina that you visited before on the web and, possibly have made donations to, check back with them and just see if you have means to do so. See if they're still needing funding to dig themselves out of what happened. Yeah, it's just a very, very heartbreaking situation, and sadly, the southeast is going to be wetter in the years going forward, or at least that's what one of the folks that I listen to on YouTube has talked about, the transformations in the weather systems and what that's going to mean for certain areas of the country, and the southeast is wetter. So I think I'm going to take this one, fill that in right there. Oop. And I hope this video isn't too long. Usually I try to edit out all the extra stuff, but I really just wanted you to see the full process of getting one of these corners filled in, and then I'll do the other one, and then you'll get to see the chair seat in its entirety. And then I'll show you the application of the polyurethane. So, all right, I think I'll just tuck this one in here. Probably don't need it to be that long. Yeah, just cut that there. Anyway, also I mentioned earlier that I have one more really fun chair to finish up. It's a rocking chair with a fancy hand cane pattern on it that I had started in North Carolina at a time when my chair repair business was slow. And then I got to a certain place in the weaving, and then people started contacting me for work, and then I was doing the crafts fairs and got a lot of business, and so I put my rocking chair project on hold. But I'm here now, and I would really like to finish it because it's a really nice piece of furniture, and if I don't need it here at the house, then maybe I can gift it to somebody or sell it. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Okay, just poke that in there. Get that to tighten up. I might need pliers. Yep, there we go. Pliers just pull everything in, and then I need to just pin these guys down here so that they don't float off anywhere by tucking them in and folding them over. And unlike the shaker tape where I sew everything together, this I could use a glue on this, either super glue or an Elmer's glue, something like that, to just make sure that all the loose tab ends are fully fastened down. And I probably will do that because like this one right here, I'm going to end up just poking it underneath this part right here and glue it down. And then this one, I might just weave in that last piece right there and call it good. All right, I'm going to stop filming here so I can do this side, but there we go. All right, one moment while I finish that. Okay, the weaving is done. That's the top side. There's the bottom side, not quite as neat, but that's okay. I need to wipe the chair down so it will be dry, and then tomorrow I'll go ahead and put the sealer on this and probably reseal the chair while I'm at it. I believe it's kitten approved. Yeah, she's getting big, isn't she? What a great cat. Okay, that's it. That was the fast forward while I got those 2 steps done. There may be some areas that I need to add just a little bit more finish to, but I'll wait till this completely dries, and that should happen pretty quickly because it's warm and slightly breezy out here. So I'll show you the final thing when we get it back in the house. Okay, here it is. The seat is firmly attached. I have used new fasteners on this because the old ones were not so good, and yeah, it's feels good this morning. I've sat on it. It doesn't make any weird noises. Always a good sign. So I'm gonna just set this here in the corner until we need it at the table. All right, thanks again for joining me for this exceptionally long video. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. See you in the next one.